Here we go from the center circle, and we're underway with VCU with basketball to start things off. Inside Memorial Gymnasium, our three officials tonight. You've got Terry Oglesby, Stephen Anderson, and Bart Lennox. This is an excellent matchup of the SEC and the A-10. Of course, VCU went to the NCAA tournament a season ago. A 10 seed falling to the 7 seed Oregon.
One thing is for sure, they're a very well-coached team. They're going to take care of the ball. They're going to play together. They're going to swing the ball from side to side and really force the Commodores to be sound defensively.
After the missed shot for Shahodas, here's your starting five for Vanderbilt tonight. You've got Scottie Pippen Jr., of course. Miles Studi's been off to a great start as well. A team-high 7 3-pointers so far.
Miles Studi has really worked on his jump shot in the offseason, and he's showing some great confidence right now.
Starting five for the VCU Rams from Richmond, Virginia. Had kind of a bumpy start for them at 1-1 after falling to Wagner a couple of nights ago. But Shahodas is an interesting player, a transfer from Washington, as a foul is picked up right here against the Rams. This one goes against Keyshawn Curry, a senior from Jacksonville, Florida.
Really showing some aggressiveness defensively, getting up, making it difficult for VCU to get going in their offense.
Lawrence with the handoff to Jordan Wright. And the reset to Scottie Pippen Jr., the preseason player of the year. Deflected out of bounds off of Jordan Wright. So the head coach for VCU in his 5th season in Richmond, it's Mike Rhodes, part of that fantastic VCU tree. Was an assistant coach on that 2011 Final Four team that has produced 3 head coaches. You've got Will Wade, Mike Rhodes, and Mike Jones, who took over at UNC Greensboro this past season.
The mark of a really good leader is what the people behind them end up doing in their careers. And so it's amazing to see what he's been able to build and will continue to build as he's one of the better coaches in the country.
You can take a look at it right there. Of course, Shaka Smart just recently leaving Texas. Anthony Grant, Jeff Capel, all of them have gone on to do really good things.
VCU obviously has the tough assignment of replacing NBA's talent and scoring threat, and also his defensive prowess as well.
Lawrence for 3. Rattles off. Melora Brown gets the stick back opportunity. That rattles off as well. So 2 minutes gone here. Shane scoreless between VCU and Vanderbilt. 3-point opportunity. Yes! That goes down for Vince Williams Jr., a senior from Toledo, Ohio.
I said it earlier, I say it again, well-coached team, getting the ball from one side of the floor to the other, really forcing Vanderbilt to have to play defense and show their sound defensively.
Jordan Wright for 3. Head coach for Vanderbilt and his 3rd season, Jerry Stackhouse, has 21 wins so far.
Jerry Stackhouse, obviously one of the best dressed coaches in the country. Keeping it laced.
And always will be. On the run out here for Pippen. Tries to slice and kicks.
As you see right here, the Commodores keeping the ball on one side of the floor. They got to make the defense work. When you're playing against a set defense, you got to get the ball from one side of the floor to the other, force the defense to have to move a little bit, and then attack on the catch.
Well, this is the mark of VCU. It goes all the way back to Shaka Smart a decade ago. They're going to play tough defense in their first 2 games. A win against St. Peter's, it was 57-54. 3-ball in the corner is no good that time, as Curry couldn't connect. And in their loss, it was 58-44. Floater through the lane is good. And Vanderbilt is on the board with the first floater by Scottie Pippen Jr.
Scottie Pippen Jr., one of the best in the country once he gets downhill, especially on a fast break situation. Very few people are going to be able to stop him.
Traveling violation goes against VCU.
Has great control with his body. Make sure he gets himself in between the two defenders, using that great touch, putting it in the air with the float action. If you're a point guard, you better have a floater in your bag.
How strong do you have to be to hold on to the basketball and maintain body control as you go through traffic like that?
Well, it's all about core strength. You want to keep your body close to the ground and have a strong core as you're going through. Really wrap that ball up and be strong with it, anticipating that somebody's going to swipe, you're going to get a little bit of contact. But if you can anticipate that and be strong with it, you get through it, and then you focus on finishing at the basket.
Rams by a point so far. 3 ball. That's off target by Studi.
Studi shot the ball well last game. He's looking to try to shoot it again. Commodores are going to have to do a really good job of not allowing the ball to really stick, but actually attacking on the catch.
Scottie Pippen Jr. and one. Back-to-back, take to the bucket, back-to-back buckets for number 2, and Vandy takes the 1-point advantage.
Scottie Pippen Jr. doing what he does best. Full head of steam. He's going to get to the basket, does a great job of getting to the hip of the defender, takes the contact, focuses, and lays it in for the and one.
10 for 12 from the free throw line so far this season for Pippen Jr. You know, one thing we've remarked in the first couple of games is the fact that it hasn't been Scottie Pippen Jr. to ignite the offense. It might be here tonight, at least so far. He's got the first 4 points.
Well, when you know you're the leading scorer on the team, your team's obviously going to come to you a lot. You can kind of wait and kind of allow the game to come Vanderbilt. And so it was special. My mom came and surprised me.
I was going to say, from Houston, right?
She was there from Houston and had me out there with the ugly face tears on the court, you know, whole 9 yards, man. But it was a blessing.
Well, congratulations back on Monday. It's been a busy week for you. We're glad that you're here. I guess it's only Wednesday. I feel like we've kind of blitzed our way through 5 or 6 or 7 days already, but just 48 hours ago. Second free throw is good.
I appreciate it.
So 1 for 2 from the free throw line for Brown Jones, a sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we're tied up at 4. 4 minutes gone by first half inside Memorial. Back-to-back 16-point performances for Jordan Wright, gives it up to Melora Brown. And it's taken away just like that. Hason Ward.
Well, as we talked about before, how strong you have to be with the basketball. Unfortunately, Melora wasn't strong with the ball there, and it got taken away from him as he was trying to pass the ball. Scottie Pippen Jr. set a great back screen for Jordan Wright to get a basket, and unfortunately weren't able to see that all the way through.
Turns it a 2 for Jayden Nunn, a freshman from Flint, Michigan. Here's Scottie Pippen Jr. again, trying to find some space on the baseline. Fade and fire. Oh, nice save right there on the baseline by VCU. That was Vince Williams Jr. that dove to save the possession for the Rams.
That was close.
On the kick to Curry. Out of bounds off of VCU. Well, taking another look at this save, it did not turn into points by VCU, but it gets dribbled off his shin and does save it. Nice job.
Sometimes you got to be quick on your feet and just make a play. That was a great hustle, saving possession right there. VCU is up 2.
Well, this right here is exactly what VCU is going to do throughout the entirety of the ball game. It doesn't matter if it's a make or a miss or a baseline out of bounds or whatever. They're going to pressure the full length of the courts.
Well, that's a part of their strategy. It's important for them because it allows for them to be able to slow down Vanderbilt's offense. They're not able to get into things very quickly. And as you can see, that pressure even extends to off-ball actions. You see Jordan being overplayed right there. He does a great job of setting up the cut, gets back door. Of course, Scottie Pippen Jr. putting the ball right there on the money. Wasn't able to finish or get the foul, but that's a great play.
Well, there is a reason that Ward was named to the 8-10 all-defensive team, and that was it right there. Offensive foul. Right on cue. There's Vince Williams Jr. once again.
Miles Studi trying to put the ball on the floor a little bit right there, but unfortunately left his feet to pass the ball, which got him the foul. Far too often whenever you leave your feet trying to make a pass, something bad typically happens.
First personal foul on Stute. Into the corner. Williams for three. Yes.
VCU moving the ball quickly. I said it before, getting the ball moving from one side of the floor to the other, make the defense move, then make them pay when the rotations come.
Let's see if Jordan Wright can't get going. Off to Pippen. He pops. And it falls off the cylinder. And a foul coming up against VCU.
Commodores are a little rattled right now, and rightfully so. VCU doing a great job finding spots that are open, being aggressive on the catch, knocking down shots. Commodores are going to have to find a way to add more pressure on the pass and be there on the catch.
Pippen just a little bit slow getting out there to defend that three ball. Foul goes against Williams on VCU. So Doors basketball. Pippen on the drive.
Commodores going with the side ball screen. Scottie Pippen Jr. driving baseline, probing. Couldn't find an angle to make a good pass.
Well, just 9-4 so far, Shannon. Vanderbilt has not scored in the past 2 minutes, 45 seconds of this first half. Pippen from the corner. And a shot clock violation.
He didn't have a choice but to shoot that right there. Unfortunately, didn't get enough space. VCU, well-coached team, especially defensively. They're not going to give up easy baskets.
High post and a kick to the corner. Josh Banks with the basketball. Swings to Nunn in the corner for Williams.
You can always tell a well-coached team against a zone when they're zipping that pass, they're moving the ball side to side, they know where their spots are. So at that point, it's just a matter of whether or not they make shots.
Yeah, from one corner to the other here, Shane. A couple of dribbles and then two passes.
One side of the floor to the other, you get an open shot. It sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing to guard.
And as we talked about the other night, does the basketball stick in your hands? And so far against the zone, the Rams are moving it pretty quickly. Banks for three. Rebound right there by Dezzoni on the lob to Pippen, and the collision goes as a foul. Goes against VCU, and it goes against Josh Banks, the sophomore guard from Charlotte, North Carolina.
That was a scary moment right there as Shane threw the ball. It's a one-on-one opportunity. Scottie Pippen Jr. hits the floor. Commodores have had a history of some injuries, and so I know that was a gasp. Scottie Pippen Jr. hitting the floor that hard. Right now, the Commodores keeping the ball on one side of the floor.
VCU really hedging high on those screens. Knocked out of bounds. It stays with Vanderbilt, really forcing the guards all the way to the center circle.
Well, that's a part of the strategy. You want to keep the ball as a defense. You want to keep the ball on one side of the floor. Offensively, you want to get the ball moving.
Thomas for three. Down the floor. 1-on-2. And that is rejected. Scottie Pippen Jr. off the glass, denied.
Scottie Pippen Jr. showing that he can do some of it all as he goes up and gets that ball and says, no, sir. My daddy did it. I can do it, too. We locking up here in Memorial Gym.
And if Vandy needs something to ignite it, it hasn't been on the offensive side. Maybe it comes on the defensive side. You get the block, and then you get the offensive foul.
That was with the left.
Oh,
and the stare down.
Oh,
left-handed dunk and the stare down. Gotta love it. Scottie Pippen Jr.
I should correct myself. Not an offensive foul, just a turnover against VCU. Fifth turnover against the Rams here in the first half. Free ball is denied. Back-to-back rejections. Here's Frank. On the backdoor cut, Jordan Wright. Lefty finish.
Jordan Wright finding a way to cut to the basket. If they're going to overplay, he's got to be aggressive moving without the basketball, showing that he can do both right there. VCU again getting the ball from one side of the floor to the other. Commodores doing a good job of really staying home defensively, not overplaying, not making any mistakes. Now it's going to come down to just one-on-one.
1 second to shoot, taken away. Jayden Nunn. And the foul.
Jayden Nunn being a man about it. Here in Memorial, looking at Coach Stackhouse saying, "This is my house, Coach."
So far, 9-8 in a bit of a defensive struggle. And Vanderbilt is looking for something to key the offense. And again, maybe it's the defense and they can start getting out in transition. Good finish a couple of times at the bucket, whether it's Scottie Pippen Jr. or Mann.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, it's about getting it done. It's not always going to be pretty. Sometimes you got to really dig in and allow your defense to really be your anchor. And you see the Commodores not backing down to that tonight.
Well, so far for VCU, just 3 for 11 tonight. Vanderbilt is 4 for 14. There's the opening performance for Jayden Nunn. 15 points, 10 rebounds for the Gardner-Webb transfer, making an impact right off the bat. It's always difficult to sustain this once you get to conference play, but at least a good marker for Jayden Nunn at the beginning of the season.
Well, it's important to get some good things happening for you early in the season, to see some success, to know that it's possible. Right? Whenever you go have one success at one level, it's important for you to have some early success at the next level so that you know what you're capable of and can strive for even greater.
So a tie ball game here at 9. Brown Jones on the kick out. Off to Williams Jr. One more pass. Look at the ball movement. 15-footer. Yes, that
VCU
goes through.
Doing a great job again, getting the ball moving from one side of the floor to the other. When you force the defense to move, you're just waiting for somebody to make a mistake, and they make the Commodores pay for it.
First couple of points of the ball game for Marcus Shahotis, the Washington transfer.
This ball pressure is really getting the Commodores out of their offense. You can tell they're just a little bit rattled. Some of the screens are not necessarily as timed as they would like them to be. Now you see 5 seconds on the clock. You got to play one-on-one basketball and just go get a basket.
No good for Jayden Nunn in the corner, but the steal. Frank to Mann, off the glass, and a foul. Well, Jayden Nunn at the free throw line for a couple of shots, but first going back to that bucket by Shahotis. You've talked about it, the ball movement is nice so far for the Rams.
And it's quick. It's on the catch. They're not waiting to see what happens. They're making moves. Even the ball screen right there. Sometimes it's faking a pass. Sometimes it's the shot fake. But you're doing something as soon as you catch the ball, and then you make a move, and the shot is open for you. It all starts with ball movement, going from one side of the floor to the other.
You know, Shahotis is a good player. A season ago with the Huskies, he was their second leading scorer at 10.4 points per game. It's been a little bit slow so far in these first 2 games against St. Peter's and Wagner, but he's a good ball player.
He is. He does a great job attacking closeouts, plays the right way. The other thing about VCU, you don't see any forced shots, right? They're getting to the shots that the coach wants for their team. Is going to put them in the best place to be successful.
Well, Jayden Nunn, a couple of free throw opportunities. He goes 0 for 2 from the free throw line. He's got 3 points here tonight and 2 rebounds. Brown Jones on the swing to Shahotis. On the drive, the floater. No good. Defensive rebound by Tizzoni, but the steal. Back-to-back floaters wouldn't go for the Rams. That time it was Shahotis.
When you play defense the way that they do, sometimes things just happen. They just fall in your favor. Sometimes guys just mishandle the ball a little bit, and all of a sudden you got to steal just because of the pressure.
Thomas. And a foul goes against Jayden Nunn. Well, Rams by 2 so far. 9-11 to go first half. Look at that. Since 2010, 2011, 8 times ranked in the top 20 in the D1 in defensive turnover percentage. And it's not the same coach. It's Shaka Smart to Will Wade to Mike Rhodes. It has been part of that tree.
When it's part of your DNA, it's kind of like Vanderbilt getting shooters. You know, you're just always going to recruit those kind of guys that fit into that culture, fit into that kind of style of play. And I'm sure at VCU, at the end of the day, if you don't want to play defense, you can't come to VCU.
No,
it's just that simple.
There's a reason they put Havoc up on billboards across 64 in Richmond. 3 ball for Thomas.
Little better ball movement right there. However, you see Scottie Pippen Jr. coming back into the game right here. Coach is trying to get some offense on the floor.
I mean, maybe no choice for Jerry Stackhouse. 0 for 9 from three-point range so far through 11 minutes in this ball game. 0 for 9 for a team that certainly can shoot it.
Well, they're not really getting open shots. They're not really getting a lot of ball movement. So you got to get somebody in there. If you're going to have to depend on one-on-one basketball, you got to have your best player on the floor.
A substitution for head coach Rhodes as Jimmy Nichols Jr. checks into the ball game. And Michael Brown-Jones goes to the bench. Nichols Jr., 6'8", a junior from Conway, South Carolina. Another one of these transfers. He transferred in from Providence. It's a good program in the Big East, too.
It is. They do a great job. Another great coach.
Skip pass into the corner. Now the kick out.
Look how quickly they're moving the ball. And even that, at the end of the day, is a good shot for their team. It's after a number of passes. It's after an attack. Here you see a little drag action right there. Double ball screen. It creates the shot in the corner for the open 3.
Yes, sir, for Terren Frank. Vanderbilt is back out in front by a point.
It's always a luxury to have bigs that can shoot the basketball.
Vandy looking for the trap. And a jump ball. Possession now goes to Vanderbilt on the other side. David Williams on the list as well.
Man, David Williams, my mentor, the late David Williams, Gail Williams' wife, they were family for me. You know, really made Vanderbilt and Nashville feel like home. And of course, Sidney Campbell, one of the best tennis players to ever come to the SEC. You know, you just got some great names on that list, and we're fortunate to have a lot of great success here at Vanderbilt. So my hat goes off to each and every one of them. They deserve it.
Doors by a point so far. 7 minutes to go, first half. Here's Nichols on the handoff. Entry pass goes down low. 10 seconds to shoot. It's deflected off of Pippen Jr. And it stays with VCU.
Scottie doing a good job of getting in that passing lane, having high hands, being active, trying to create some turnover for the Commodores.
5 seconds for Nunn. Matched up with Lawrence. Shot clock violation. And for VCU, that goes down as turnover number 8. Vandy has 7 of those.
Tyron Lawrence is a really good defender for the Commodores. Is why he's on the floor. Going one-on-one against him is probably not what you want for your offense.
Look at that pressure. Well, turnovers are even once again.
You know, they say pressure bursts pipes. Unfortunately, pressure is really getting to the Commodores right now. And on both sides. Seeing a lot of turnovers, a lot of tip balls. Things aren't happening as smooth as they was like.
Well, a grand total of 9 field goals has been made so far. So 9 field goals in 13 minutes.
It's a lot of missed shots.
I do not know Ken Palm's formula, but I don't think that's efficiency at its peak.
It's not. It's not. But you know what, though? For VCU, they've gotten a lot of quality looks at the basket. They've moved the ball well. They've attacked on the catch. They've made the defense work. And so, you know, at some point, you got to know that those shots are going to go in if you continue to be aggressive. But you can't turn the ball over. That's the one thing that you can't do, and shoot the ball bad.
Well, just some miscommunication between Jimmy Nichols and Hason Ward down low turns into the turnover there. And for what it's worth, I suppose VCU is playing at the pace that it wants to play at. They're not designed to score 70 or 80 points in a ball game. This is where VCU wants it if you're talking about imposing your style on your opponent. 3 ball from the left wing. Yes, Jayden Nunn.
The ball started on the right wing. He drove it, got himself to the nail hole at the free throw line, passed the ball to the opposite side. Ball movement creates open shots. That's VCU's strategy. That's how they're up by 2 right now.
Well, VCU 3 steals so far. This one taken away from Scottie Pippen Jr.
It's just active hands. Scottie got himself in trouble right there on that baseline. Great ball movement, getting the ball to your shooters. They're getting great shots. VCU is consistently getting great shots, and if they're going to get them shots, at some point they're going to get their confidence up and start making them.
Yep.
Commodores are going to have to be there on the catch in order to really play some good defense.
It gives Nunn 5 points. First of 2 there for Scottie Pippen. If he had made it, is no good.
Scottie Pippen Jr. with the uncharacteristic lackadaisicalness with the basketball right there.
Ward gives it up to Williams. And on the bounce pass, it's knocked away down low. Looking for Josh Banks. It does stay with VCU.
VCU trying to figure out this 1-3-1 zone. Commodores are giving them a healthy dose of it.
You know, Stackhouse talked about that in the pregame. Just the fact that you want to be able to mix it up. But at the same time, it does have to be part of your DNA and your conscious to be able to rebound out of that 1-3-1 zone. It's easy to find a man, quote unquote, if you're in man. But the minute that you got to go to zone, you got to think about how am I going to body somebody up on the shot? Who can I find?
Well, most importantly, you got to be thinking about boxing out. You got to know that when that shot goes up, the first thing that you're going to do is find somebody as opposed to just going and trying to find the ball.
No good for Lawrence. That was a topic of conversation because Texas State back on Sunday was so good on the glass. 3 ball. Yes. Ripcord. Vince Williams Jr.
VCU again being aggressive. Commodores just got a lid on the basket right now. They're getting good shots as well. Just aren't making them. The defense has to keep them in the game, and it's just a 5-point game right now, so the game is not out of reach. Commodores are just going to have to do a great job of being there on the catch and not allowing VCU to get to the basket, get in their paint, because that's where it really hurts you and it creates open shots for the rest of their teammates.
Offensive foul called against Josh Banks. That was Melora Brown that stood up and took that one. Well, 5-point advantage, as you mentioned, Shane. This is the largest lead of the ball game for VCU. They've had this a couple of times. Good job by Melora Brown. Steps outside of the semicircle and takes the charge.
That was a great job by Melora, making sure he was in position. He could have just gone up for a shot block, but that was a great opportunity for him to give his body up for his team.
A couple of substitutions as we close in on the under 4 timeouts. So a couple of guys getting a rest, but Peyton Daniels checks into the ball game.
Commodores have a great opportunity right now to answer the question, what do we do when we're not making threes? Somebody's got to be aggressive. Somebody's got to find people when they're open and make sure that they're getting to the free throw line, as you see Miles Studi going to right now.
Foul coming up against the Rams. So Studi to the free throw line for a couple of shots. That's kind of the answer, right? If you're not knocking down your 3-pointers, be aggressive, get to the bucket, force them to foul, you get to the free throw line.
That's it. You got to be aggressive, but you got to be able to move on the catch. You can't let the ball stick, but you got to attack the basket and not be afraid of contact.
Andrew Allegretti here alongside Shane Foster. As you take a look at some of the statistics, 4 minutes to go here in this first half. It's all about VCU's defense so far to me, Shane.
They're doing a great job. They're applying pressure, full court pressure. They're not allowing Commodores to get into their offense, into that flow easily. And then offensively on the other side, they're moving the ball quickly. They're getting to their spots. They're not shooting it well, but coaches got to be happy with the shots that they're getting.
Yeah, Vanderbilt just 5 for 22 so far. And mention some of those heavy hitters. The names on the marquee here at Memorial. Scottie Pippen Jr. just 4 points. Jordan Wright just 4 points. Miles Studi has been great so far this season. No points so far. There's his first one.
On par, he knocks down a free throw, and that's the thing about it is you get comfortable playing at this level. You got to be able to be versatile. You got to be able to knock down shots, get to the free throw line. If things aren't necessarily going down your way, you got to be able to draw fouls. Do it on the defensive end. Get some easy baskets.
That is an inadvertent buzzer. At least I thought so.
VCU's coach doing a good job of taking advantage of this opportunity to talk to his team. As you see with the way that Vanderbilt's court is set up, you don't get a chance to really holler and scream, and you guys can't hear you when you're on the other side of the floor.
How long have the coaches been able to come out to, I guess there's a line by the M and the E that the coaches can come out to? Has that always been the case, or wasn't that just instituted in the past couple of years?
It's really been the last 2 years that they've been able to do that, and it's changed quite a bit. I think coaches like it a whole lot. But I do remember that it was such a big deal, especially when I was playing, where coaches weren't really able to walk that far. And so I remember distinctly Bruce Pearl, Donovan, that was Billy Donovan from Florida. You know, they'd be upset because you can't call out coverages. You can't, you know, make up for the mistakes that your players make on the floor by being able to talk to them and coach them through it.
Nunn the floater. Tapped right on in. That's Michael Brown-Jones that cleans it up from Jayden Nunn.
Well, you talked about it before. When you're going to play this style of defense, you got to be able to turn around and go put a body on somebody and get guys off of the offensive boards.
Out of bounds off of Vanderbilt. So a 6-point advantage here for VCU. 3:15 to go in the first half. And here is cleaning up the offensive glass once again, Brown-Jones. Really well done.
They had a great defensive possession. Shot was highly contested. They didn't finish it with the rebound.
Well, we just heard a PA announcement. That pause a second ago is the fact that the center scoreboard has a clock that's stuck at 4 minutes, and the time is being kept on the clocks above the basket. So that's what the stoppage was just a couple of seconds ago.
Jordan getting in there, getting some offensive rebounds for the Commodores.
Pippen Jr. rainbows it off the front rim.
Miles Studi underneath trying to fight for a basket. Unfortunately, gets called for a foul. It's a good look for Scottie Pippen Jr. Studi got him with the little chicken wing.
The old hook and hold.
Sometimes you get frustrated. Shots aren't falling. You're down. Not really getting to the basket well. You get frustrated. You just want to get guys off of you.
No good on the finger roll. Doors have numbers if they want it. Lawrence, reverse. Good for two.
Did a great job of putting his head down right there and using the defense's body against him.
There's a steal. Right back the other direction. One-on-one, Lawrence. No good, but a foul. And a couple of shots coming up here for Lawrence. 2:03 to go first half.
That one little second where he took to kind of pause a little bit and didn't go full speed, but he slowed down right there just enough to allow the defense to get in front of him, jump into the defense and get the foul.
Second personal foul called against Williams. We saw that just the other night by Scottie Pippen Jr. So Lawrence takes a page out of his teammate's book.
Sometimes the best form of flattery.
Imitation.
Imitation.
I could strive to be like you, Shane, my entire life, and I'll never be able to get there. I don't think in any fashion, like certainly in basketball, that would be a ridiculous thing for me to try to intimidate. But style, anything else, just stay away from it.
Well, you know, I think height has a little bit to do with that.
First thing out of Shane's mouth here tonight, hey, did we get Andrew a box for the stand-up so we can be the same heights? Good to see you too, Shane.
It's all love, baby.
Hope your flight from Detroit was nice today.
it's all love. I'll never forget the first time I met Dickie V. I was like, you're short for real. it's not for show. No, you're short for real.
What did you think they did? Like, CG shortened him?
You just never know. You see, when you only see people on TV, you kind of assume that they're the big, you know, same height as everybody else that's around basketball, and it was not the case.
Lawrence for three. Jordan Wright being tough down low, finishes with the left. That's his second lefty finish of the night. Good strength there.
Jordan Wright showing some good patience down low, showing a little post up. Again, something he's added to his game. It wasn't there last season, but he's doing a good job right now.
A foul coming up against Lawrence here. But here's the bucket on VCU by Jordan Wright.
Stackhouse obviously not liking the call right here, as he feels like the same thing is happening on the other side of the floor. He's not getting the benefit of the whistle. VCU doing a good job of moving the ball from side to side, creating some good offense for their team, getting the ball movement, attacking closeouts. That's what you're supposed to do.
Well, the foul does go against Lawrence. 1-1 for Banks, he goes 2 for 2. And VCU takes the lead once again. 75 seconds to go here in the first half. Largest lead of the ball game for Vanderbilt is just 1. Largest lead of the ball game so far was 6 for VCU.
VCU is not going to allow Scottie Pippen Jr. to be comfortable coming off of those ball screens. Jordan Wright's going to step up. That's why you need a 1-2 punch. When number 1 is struggling, we got a number 2.
Jordan Wright leads the team 7 points here tonight. Driving to kick, Nunn for 3.
Again, VCU moving that ball from side to side. Beneficiary of the defense having an opportunity to make mistakes.
It is getting physical inside Memorial. Stackhouse wants a foul. VCU gets the bucket instead. A scramble drill goes to the rim. That was chaos.
The fact that that did not end up with a foul at all is quite interesting.
5 seconds to go, first half. And it's taken away at the buzzer. So VCU tightens the grip on the Vanderbilt Commodores here in the first half and takes a 1-point advantage into the locker room. 23-22. Chaos at the end, but VCU's defense reigns in the first half.
They did a good job of providing full court pressure, keeping the Commodores out of their offense, and then coming back on the other side and making them pay with great ball movement, attacking closeouts, and getting the shots that VCU wants.
Huge investment in the student-athlete experience. As they said all along, they want to make Vanderbilt the #1 student-athletes experience in the country, and you can see it right there. So, underway here at the second half, and right off the bat, VCU gets a bucket, and it's 25-22.
Another staple of a really good coach team is to come in after a timeout, after halftime, come to a great offensive play, execute, and finish.
First bucket there goes to Curry, his first 2 points of the ball game. Stute on the drive.
You're seeing a number of bobbled passes from the Commodores that really slows down their offense and what they're trying to get to in attacking.
Good deflection that time. That was Curry that got a hand on it on the pass from Studi to Pippen.
Little floppy action right here from VCU. They don't get it. You see another bobbled ball, another deflection by the Commodores here. It slows down the offense. VCU is intent on getting that ball moving from side to side.
3 seconds to shoot. Defensive rebound by Melora Brown. Stockard couldn't finish at the rim. Deflected out of bounds off of VCU. All right, Shane. So, if you're Vanderbilt and you've got a team like VCU that has imposed its pace and its style on this ball game, how do you break out of it?
Well, you got to get the ball moving on your side of the floor. Commodores are they're a solid defensive team, but they're not a lockdown defensive team. So a lot of times it's your offense that creates the energy that's needed on the defensive side of the ball. So you got to do things like Scottie Pippen just did. You got to get yourself to the free throw line. You got to will yourself there, get downhill. You got to create advantages for each other, and then you got to finish at the end of the day. You got to make your free throws. You got to get a few and ones when the opportunity comes, and you got to finish defensive possessions with a rebound.
That is the third personal foul on Curry, which strikes me as significant. Is if he's going to be the guy that's guarding Scottie Pippen Jr., obviously a lot of confidence from Coach Rhodes to say, you've got that one-on-one. So they've got to take Curry out of the ball game, and they bring in Jayden Nunn. So a different defender next time down the floor for number 2 in whites.
Scottie Pippen Jr. making his free throws. Sure, VCU's coach doesn't like that bounce pass out there above the free throw line.
2-on-2, Pippen at the free throw line kicks. Through traffic for Rights. Studi for 3.
Scottie Pippen Jr. was probing for his own shot right there and missed an opportunity to kick it out to Jordan, where he would have had a better opportunity to make that shot.
Shahona for 3. Rattles off. Trying to push it, but just 1-on-3 here for Pippen. Great job in defensive transition. That time for the Rams.
Scottie Pippen Jr. just doesn't seem like himself today. He's been a little lackadaisical with the ball. He's got a couple of turnovers in situations where he normally wouldn't turn the basketball over. VCU's doing a good job of always running 2 people at him and not allowing him to get comfortable using the ball screen.
Williams, 2-handed flush, and a timeout taken by Coach Stackhouse. The 5th turnover for Pippen Jr. leads to a 2-handed stuff for Williams.
Well, we said it. When you come out of halftime, you got to throw the first punch. VCU came out and threw the punch.
Well, take your pick of statistics here, but I'm going to circle this bottom line. Vanderbilt, 16 turnovers here tonight in the first 2 games. 11.5 turnovers per game. That is forced by VCU, so give the Rams credit. They have done their job, but that one stands out to me.
Well, what they're doing is they're making sure that they're throwing multiple guys at Scottie every time he uses a ball screen. They're throwing multiple guys at Jordan whenever he's trying to use a ball screen, so they're not allowing the Commodores' 2 best players to really get comfortable. You see Scottie's double team bringing the ball up the floor right now. They're intentional about getting the ball out of his hands, or at the very least running a lot of shot clock on his way down the court.
And Scottie Pippen Jr. gets rejected with a stare from Ward. So Pippen did it once, and Ward matches him.
That was a missed backdoor cut right there. Guy was open. He just wasn't in a good position to make the pass.
Free ball for Banks is waved off. Out of bounds. Take a look at this, Shane. Well, Scottie did it once, so he gets it returned right to him.
Well, it's Scottie Pippen Jr. trying to go and make something happen, and that's, you can respect that, but you got to do it through ball movement. You got to attack on the second catch, not the first one. In that possession, nobody else touched the ball except for Scottie.
.15 to shoot for Rights. Foul goes against VCU, so it stays right here, but boy, that was open for Wright and just couldn't finish at the rim. It would have been a tough finish but he had space.
He had the athleticism. He just didn't finish up high. Whenever you're going in and you're getting contact, you got to finish up high. Guys have a tendency to just want to kind of baby it into the basket. You got to get that. You got to shoot that more like a floater. Get it up above the rim and give it a chance to see the bottom of the rim and go in.
Well, maybe a little bit of foul trouble developing here for VCU as Stockard goes to the bench with his 3rd personal foul.
I think Miles Studi missed an opportunity to set a really good screen right there. It's the little things, you know. It's never the big thing. It's the little things that really make a huge difference.
All right, so Williams picks up his 3rd personal foul right here. So you've got Curry with 3, Stockard with 3, Williams with 3. Williams has been a good offensive player. He's got 14 points tonight.
VCU being very consistent with getting the ball out of Scottie's hands and forcing the Commodores to play one-on-one basketball, which they don't want to do, but
there's the floater. Shane, you ask and you shall receive from Jordan Wright.
He put the ball up high in the air, gives the ball eyes. That's what our coach used to tell us. Give the ball eyes. Let the ball see the bottom of the rim. It's got a chance to go in.
4-point advantage. Trying to make it 6 again. That's rejected by Melora Brown. Right back to Banks, a smooth finish with the right hands.
That worked out for them based on the hustle, but unfortunately, the Commodores really didn't do their job of getting to the rebounding. They got to take care of the rebounding.
We've got, I think, a double technical coming up. So double technicals. One goes against Miles Studi, one goes against Deloach for the VCU Rams. Here in this 6-point ball game, we saw some pushing and shoving here on this shot, but at the same time as they went back down the floor, I think Studi, like you said, Shane, maybe some talking.
As you see right here, after the play is over, once they hit the ground, as they're getting up, there's some jawing going back and forth. You see one guy had his fist balled up, and that's the thing that got him attacked. Referees aren't going to go for that because they got to get on top of it before it turns into something greater.
Now again, Shane, there is some foul trouble brewing for VCU. Deloach has 3. Williams has 3. He's got 14 points too. Curry was defending Pippen. He's got 3, and Stockard's got 3.
Commodores trying to get a little bit of Golden State action right there with throwing the ball in the post and getting a little screener action with the guards. Didn't turn into anything. He had a good cut, but the help side defense was there. VCU doing a great job on the defensive end.
No good on the triple by Brown Jones. Thomas for 3. Just not on target here tonight. 2 for 17 from 3-point range for Vanderbilt.
Commodores are just not in sync well with their offense right now. They got an open 3 right there, but it was kind of just a happenstance. It wasn't something that they were even anticipating.
Tough physical play. Offensive foul is called against Williams Jr. And that is his 4th, right?
That will be 4 on him. And really and truly in this situation, if he doesn't throw that arm out there, he probably gets away with it. But unfortunately, anytime you extend that arm, it's an automatic foul.
So 4 on Williams. The only person in foul trouble at this point for Vanderbilt is Studi. He's got 3. Right for 3.
Jordan's got to do a better job of really attacking on the catch. On the catch, you've either got to be jabbing, you got to be pump faking, you got to be driving.
Oh, a finish down low. There is Ward, a flush for the junior from St. Thomas, Barbados. Goodness.
And as you can see, he did it on the catch. He didn't wait on the catch. He was being aggressive, going straight up.
Offensive foul called against Jordan Wright. So this feels like a moment here for Vanderbilt. VCU starting to build its advantage. It's out to 8 points after that destruction of a dunk by Ward.
Anytime your big steps up, and there's no defender that comes to help the helper, you're giving up a dunk on the other side. And that's what happened with VCU. This is what it looks like when you allow a team to come onto your home floor. They get confidence, you're not shooting the ball well, and you don't pick it up and come out and hit first to start the second half. Now all of a sudden you're playing against a team that really believes that they can come in here and win a game.
VCU since 2007 has 18 wins against the Power 5. The last one being 2019 against the former VCU head coach Will Wade and LSU, 84-82.
VCU, earlier, they did a good job of getting the ball to different sides of the floor. Now they're struggling to move the basketball. But their hustle is going to save them as they're getting on top of the offensive boards, really crashing, getting second chances for their team.
Well, this VCU team that fell to Wagner just a couple of days ago trying to build its advantage, and it does. Jayden Nunn for a 3-ball, and it's 37-26. 9-point advantage is the largest in the ball game for VCU.
They're a different team when they're playing with confidence and they really believe. You're playing against a different team.
The 6'4" freshman from Flint, Michigan, has the space. What do you say?
Under no circumstance against any defense should somebody be able to take one dribble and shoot an in-rhythm three-point basket without being touched.
A 12-2 VCU run in the past 5 minutes 7 seconds. This feels like one of those critical moments. Again, I just said it, but I'm not saying the game is in the balance here with 12:23 to go, but again, all of the energy here for VCU. Jump shot from the free throw line. Book it. Gabe Dorsey, the freshman from Maryland.
It's a great shot right there, but it was one of those possessions that's broken. Again, not an anticipated basket, but it's one that they'll take.
First collegiate points for him.
Commodore sticking with the zone. They're going to switch all of these ball screens.
Floater. Tapped around and Ward gets the rebounds. Out of bounds off of Scottie Pippen Jr. So a timeout here in Nashville. VCU with its largest lead of the ball game.
VCU is playing hard. They're keeping themselves in the game, making shots when they need to.
9-point disadvantage here for Vanderbilt with 11:39 to go here in this second half. And VCU again has earned this one with their physicality and earned this one with their defense on the drive. Off the glass and through. Nick Kern, his first bucket of the ball game for the freshman from St. Louis.
Commodores are just not disciplined right now. Defensively, they're just not disciplined. You got three guys surrounding the ball, but he's able to go in and make a little move and get himself in position to make a basket.
No Jordan Wright on the floor at the moment. Pippen, and he is rejected by Ward again. Hason Ward.
The defense. Scottie Pippen Jr. having an out-of-body experience right now. He knows he's better than this. He's in need desperately to see the ball go through the basket and have some good things happen for him. But this is a good challenge for him and the Commodore team. What do you do when things aren't going well? You're not shooting the ball well. You're not getting to the free throw line as much as you like to. You're not making the free throws when you get there. What do? Somebody's got to step up and show some leadership, get in each other's face and say, you know, we're not going to take this. Commodores trying to get into the offensive set. Ball screens getting trapped consistently. Good heads-up timeout right there by Scottie Pippen Jr. Trying to figure out why he's not getting fouls called. They're doing a good job of keeping a body on him. That's good defense. VCU playing VCU basketball.
40-28 is our score. 10:26 to go here in this second half. Well, Vandy from 3, just 2 for 19 here tonight, Shane. And 10 for 38 overall. 19 turnovers here for Vanderbilt. VCU from the 3-point arc is 6 for 17. And 15 for 44, so 34% from the floor overall. And we talk a little bit like, oh, SEC versus A-10, all this kind of stuff. The A-10 is a very good league. That is an excellent, excellent collegiate basketball league. St. Bonaventure is favored to win that league this season. Vanderbilt is going up against a team that was picked 4th in that conference, so it's no guarantee just because A-10 SEC, obviously, gigantic, obviously. But if you're Vanderbilt, you've got to sprint to the finish line. You've got 10:26. You just got to try to throw the throttle down and see what you can do.
Hard work beats talent when talent don't show up.
Will beat skill sometimes.
And at the end of the day, no matter how good you are, you got to show up and be good. If you're great, you got to show up and be great. And right now, Commodores are struggling to get somebody to show up and be great today, and it's showing.
I suspect there's a couple of VCU Ram fans out there saying, hey guys, you tell me which team made the NCAA tournament last year and which team didn't.
Well, at the end of the day, you got to dig down deep. You got to come together as a team. You got to want it, you know, and it's not, it can't be done just one-on-one. Basketball is not a one-on-one sport, and so you got to be able to get into your offense. You got to be able to pick other guys up. You got to be able to communicate. There's so many facets of the game, but at the end of the day, you got to execute.
Offensive foul. That goes against Jordan Wright. That's his 3rd personal foul. Should take a second look at this one.
Refusing the ball screen right there, just making up his mind that he was going to go and post up down low. And unfortunately, VCU is playing with a lot of confidence right now. The referees are on their side when it comes to their aggression. When you show up and you be aggressive, the referees will bend to the team that is most aggressive. That's just what it is.
Speaking of ISO basketball, do you think that the NBA makes basketball look more individualistic than it actually is?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now, that being said, you have some really great players in the NBA, right? Like when you see what Steph Curry did the other night, is absolutely spectacular. Nobody else is doing that in the league, right? You got guys, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, you got elite guys, but they're not as good if other guys are not setting screens, if other guys are not creating spacing, if you're not able to defend at a high level. Golden State's the best defensive team in the league right now. Who would have thought without James Wiseman and Klay Thompson on the floor? But it's about team. Draymond out there. Draymond has games where he don't even score a basket. Iguodala has games. He don't even score a basket. But they're still winning games because they do it together. You see the excitement of guys on the bench. You got guys who are diving on the floor for loose balls. You see the excitement and camaraderie. And the teams that do well in college, you see the same things.
Fade and fire off the front of the rim, no good. I guess that's what I'm driving at. Not always, but sometimes the trickle-down effect. Just because the NBA makes it look individualistic doesn't mean it actually is.
Nope. Everybody wants to be the star until it's time for the star to show up.
Out of bounds. Hason Curry stepped on the sideline.
Our coaches used to always say it's easy to be excited when things are going well, but can you really get on top of each other? Can you encourage each other? Can you show up in those moments, you know, where things are not going well, and will your team to really show up and be better than what they are in the moment?
I'm also not saying that this is on Pippen's shoulders over the next 8 minutes, 20 seconds, but let's see what Pippen can do to rally the troops. But he is getting smothered all of the time. That is out of bounds off of VCU. It stays with Vanderbilt with 10 seconds left to shoot. You want number 2 to step up. You think number 2 can. Number 2 knows that he can, but he is getting smothered and doubled. And I think a couple of times I've sort of seen a triple team.
Well, leadership shows up in different ways. Some days he's going to be called upon to shoot the basketball. Some days he's going to be called upon to create for others. Right now, he got a healthy dose of a double team coming, so he's got to figure out how to draw the double team, but get rid of the ball quickly and empower his teammates to go and make plays. That's what leadership looks like in those moments. And so that's an area where we're looking for him to really show some growth and some maturity and really make his teammates better.
Off the rim from Jordan Wright. Defensive rebounds. Brought in by Jonas, excuse me.
One key tell when it comes to who's being aggressive and who's not is how easy you see them being able to move the ball from one side to the other. Every pass is easy. Nobody's in passing lanes. And then it leads to the energy that leads to an offensive rebound and an and one in this situation.
Pippen Jr. All of last year, that happened just one time. March 6th at Ole Miss had 6 points. Again, should say 7 points, excuse me. March 6th of last year, the only time he went single digits in his entire sophomore campaign. Again, he has got just 6 points tonight. All sorts of credit to VCU for slowing down the star for Vandy.
Well, you know what? This is indicative of college basketball. When you have a breakout season as he did last year, teams are going to know that, and they're going to come out and they're going to show you some different looks and try to get you frustrated and make sure that you're not comfortable. And so he's going to have to go back to the drawing board, watch film, understand where were the moments where he could have done some things differently and be ready for it, because I can assure you after other teams see this, they're going to do it as well.
Free ball.
This is what you don't want to see as Stackhouse is watching his team. You don't want to see guys just trying to take it over just by going one-on-one, shooting bad shots. You got to try to do it as a team. One-on-one is what got you in this situation. One-on-one is going to make it even worse. You got to figure out how to get the ball movement, how to encourage your teammates, and really empower them to create opportunities for each other.
All right, Shane, so Scottie Pippen Jr. does it on the defensive end here. He takes the charge as Deloach is the one that picks up his 4th personal foul. 44-28 is our score. 7 minutes to go here as VCU is looking for its 19th win against a Power 5 team since 2007. It would also be Vanderbilt's 3rd loss against the A-10 in 2 years.
Here you see again, steady dose of this double team. VCU is not going to let up from double teaming Scottie. He's got to figure out how to give the ball up earlier.
Melora Brown, and he is turned aside at the rim by Ward, but a foul is coming up, and Melora Brown to the free throw line. Mike Rhodes is apoplectic.
That's the kind of offense that Commodores have to see, though. You see right then that split second where there's 2 people guarding the ball. You got to get rid of it quickly. And that's what they do. Maloya does a great job of getting to the basket, going up strong. Sometimes it gets blocked. Sometimes you get a foul. In this situation, he's at the free throw line.
First personal foul goes against Ward. I guess he got him on the body because it looked to me like the ball was all hand that time for Ward. But some body contact puts Melora Brown at the free throw line.
Well, it's a split-second decision, and it's at the discretion of the referees and what they saw and what angle they were at. So sometimes you're going to get those calls, but that's why you got to go consistently. That's why you got to stay aggressive, because some of those are going to work out for you, but none of them work out when you don't go.
Our 3 officials here tonight: Terry Oglesby, Steven Alexander, and Bart Lennox. Traveling violation called against VCU. 18th turnover on the Rams. Vandy's got 20 of those. Little chippy here from Curry.
This has been a chippy game all day long. You got 2 teams who are trying to come out and be really aggressive with each other, take each other out of the offense. And VCU showing that they can do it a little better than Vandy has been able to.
Quick cut down low. That is turned aside. Ward is a menace down low. He will not let the doors get anywhere close to that rim.
Well, they just didn't anticipate the fact that when you're by yourself, defense is coming at some point, so you got to get that ball up there quickly. Miles Studi was open, didn't anticipate the defense, got the shot blocked.
Pippen attacks, hands it off. Good offense right there. Pippen to Jordan for two.
Good offense, good probe right there by Scottie Pippen Jr. Great cut at the right time by Jordan. College basketball is at its finest. You see guys moving quickly. Everything happens quickly. Ball is on a string. It's always moving. When the ball slows down, trust me when I tell you, coaches are not excited about it.
What a save. How about Curry that time on the missed shot? Gets an extra possession for VCU, and a timeout is taken by the Rams.
I'm sure that's not the type of offense that coach is looking for. He's used to this ball being moving, things happening crisp and fast. They're playing hard, though. You get another offensive rebound, gets another possession for his team. That's part of the reason why they're winning by 13 right now. Sometimes when shots are not being made, you got to make those hustle plays.
Really close that time from Curry stepping on that sideline. Well, Vandy had 2-0 so far. Next up for the Doors. They play on Saturday, excuse me. They got Winthrop on Saturday. As you take one more look at this one. Ooh, that is awfully close, but I think he does keep his foot in bounds.
The referee was right there, had eyes on it, was ready to make the call if necessary.
Yeah, so Saturday for Vanderbilt right here against Winthrop. Next up for VCU, I call this the Mac McCarthy game. VCU versus Chattanooga. Mac McCarthy, head coach for Chattanooga back in the 90s, took them to the Sweet 16 in 1997, eventually left Chattanooga to coach VCU.
Okay. History buff in the building.
He's a friend.
Commodores trying to get hands on the balls down low. Got called for a foul. This is what happens when you get down and the time is starting to dwindle down. You start taking more risks because you have to. VCU staying with this full court pressure. Again, not allowing the Commodores to get into their offense quickly. Studi was open again right there.
Second personal foul called against Hason Ward.
When you become a student of the game, you get back, you watch film, you're able to go and see where guys were open that you missed them, where we should have gotten rid of the ball much quicker than we did. This is a great opportunity for these guys to really learn.
Well, just 7 points tonight for Scottie Pippen Jr. 2 for 9 from the floor. 3 for 5. Becomes 4 for 6 from the free throw line.
And just to be honest, 4 for 6 is not bad when you're talking about even free throws. It only becomes bad when you're an elite free throw shooter.
Well, I'll say this. If VCU holds on to this ball game, there's going to be plenty of SEC teams that go back and study the tape of this one to slow down Scottie Pippen Jr. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, this will be on the scouting report for the rest of the year. And Scottie's going to have to be mature enough to ensure that he's telling his guys, listen, as soon as the double team comes, I'm getting rid of the ball. Y'all go make plays. I'll catch it on the back end. And on that second catch, he's got to be ready to attack.
So many short jump shots here tonight, just not falling for Vandy. Another one right there from Alora Brown.
Commodore sitting back in the zone defense. The zone is really good. It forces the other team to not play offense the way that they're accustomed to. It forces them to really think and probe the defense as opposed to coming down and just running their stuff. However, when played without being in the passing lanes, they're able to move the ball pretty efficiently around the court.
He's a brick wall down low. You're not going to get past Hason Ward here tonight. Turned aside again. Final 3 minutes here tonight.
The thing that people don't talk about when they see those block shots are the pressure that the guards put on the outside. So every time the Commodore guards are getting to the basket, there's somebody next to them 100% of the time, which means they don't have all of their legs when they do get to the rim to really be aggressive. And so the block is a little bit easy.
No stranger for Ward, though. He finished last season second in the A-10 in blocked shots per game and 21st nationally. So this is what he does. Floater, yes.
Nice shot by Jordan. Now you're going to see the Commodores starting to gamble a little bit more. Trying to make some things happen defensively. Somebody's going to have to make a play.
Into the corner for Pippen.
That's a good look. But that is certainly the kind of night that has been.
2 for 22 from three-point range. 2 for 22. That's 9%.
Well, that's not really the stat that hurts the most. You're going to have some nights where, you know, there's just going to be a lid on the basket. You're not going to be able to make threes. The part that hurts is when you go 12 for 50 from the field. You got to be able to get to the basket. You got to be able to get to the free throw line. There's other things that you can do. The rebounding stat, Commodores have been out rebounded tonight, 41 to 37. Those are the statistics that hurt the most.
Well, 90 seconds away here for VCU, taking down their 19th Power 5 team since 2007. Power 5 or not, this is one of the better programs in all of college basketball, from Shaka Smarts to Will Wade to Mike Rose. This program has been strong for a decade.
The thing people don't realize is that those conferences that are not used to being Power 5 conferences, they're not used to getting all of the media attention and all the facilities and all of that kind of stuff. Those boys play hard.
Yes.
Those ladies play hard.
Yes.
So those conferences are not to be played around with when they come into your building, because at any given moment, you can lose the game. They're going to give you their best 100% of the time. You know, they're not getting to play against the Floridas and the Kentuckys every single year, every single night. So when they see those Power 5 conference games on their schedule, they're circling those, saying that's when we're bringing our best. That's what we're preparing for. Because if you can show that you can beat a team at this level, now that gives you the confidence you need to go back into your conference and show up big.
I'll say this, though. VCU owns the city of Richmond. Virginia is there, national champions from a couple of years ago. Virginia Tech is down the road. They've got a presence. Richmond is there. They've got a presence. But when it comes to basketball, nobody owns the city of Richmond like VCU. They've got billboards on 64. They dominate the conversation. And Vanderbilt is getting a first-hand look of why here tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have a lot of pride. They show up with that pride. They're playing hard. They're well coached. And that's why they're going to walk out of here with a victory.
As mentioned, the preseason favorite and the A-10 is St. Bonaventure. VCU picked to finish 4th in that conference. It'll be an interesting season for head coach Mike Rhodes. Not sure if they've got that star like they did a season ago. Bones Highland taken 26th overall by Denver. Don't know that they've got that guy, but they play hard together like you just said, and they could be a force in their conference.
Listen, when you got guys that are willing to play hard, I'll take playing hard over talent every day of the week. Because when you're going to play hard and give all that you got, then basketball rewards guys that play that hard.
Right for 3.
There's a difference between a shot and a team shot. Unfortunately, when you get down by a lot, the game is out of hand, you tend to take more me shots. Not realizing that that won't necessarily get you back into the game unless they fall.
And with 23.6 seconds to go, I suppose it's 6 1/2 dozen.
You're right about it. Commodores did some good things tonight. They also have some things that they got to learn from and go back to the drawing board and really focus on.
Final 20 seconds. Once again, Scottie Pippen Jr. with just 8 points here tonight. All of last season, he only had single digits one time, 7 against Ole Miss on March 6th. That was it. Final 5 here in Nashville. VCU, their 19th victory over a Power 5 team since 2007, and they did it in dominating fashion against the Dores.
Well, they came in and they played their game. They were committed to the defensive end. Coach had a great game plan, and they executed it on both sides of the floor. They moved the ball well. They shared it. They did it as a team together. Hat goes off to VCU.